little SenVale, and we're going to be doing all the defenders in the game for Operation Commanding Force. So today we're going through all the defenders in Operation Commanding Force and kind of rating them S tier from really, really good to D tier to being very, very, very bad. So, Smoke, Mutes. Do I need to say anything about these two? They have shotguns that are some of the best shotguns in the game. SV11's is backup. Nitro, Plant Denial, Shield set up, and shotgun set up the side. Mute, anti-intel. Like, these two ops are kind of the cornerstone of a good defense. So, always solid, always good. No one will ever think you're throwing if you pick either of these ops in any situation. So, Pulse is going to be a situational op, so a little bit of beats here. Guns are good, Nitro is nice, and you know, accurately throw the Nitro is always solid. So that was situational, but is easy to deal with if you are trying to deal with them. Or force attackers to have to make it. Oh, you got to deal with their pulse, you know. Force you have to move. Speed of which Castle beats here. Again, another kind of situational op. Can't set up the site. Kind of functions the same way as pulse. Like normally when they have a pulse or a castle, you're going to usually hear somebody say, oh, they have a pulse, or hey, they have a castle, you know? Like, it forces attackers to have to really think about how we're going to counter these ops. Forces the attackers to have to play a certain way. These ops are for playing ranked in general. I will do a solo queue specific tier list at some point, but this is just for playing, like, you know, if you're in a 5-stack, like low tier to high tier comp, and ranked in general. So this is just overall tier list. This is how I think about the ops. Like if I'm in a 5-stack with 5 champs in my eyes, this is how I would rate the ops. Doc, what's Doc and Rook? Doc has a bailiff and a good guns. So Doc can set up the site, Rook can't, and I feel like Doc's ability is a little bit better than Rook's. Those heals are nuts now. Like you can heal someone from 0 health all the way to full over shield. So Doc, I definitely feel like is better than Thunderbird. We'll get to Thunderbird when we second, but Doc's better than Thunderbird in terms of the healing department, and you can heal them wherever. Thunderbirds you have to physically go over to, and sometimes you just can't make the trek. Rook's armors are nice, but Rook not being able to set up the site, really having much utility at all, definitely limits Rook. I think Doc is an overall better addition to the team versus Thunderbird. I'm going to place at the C tier. The guns are very, very mid. Doc A tier, not gonna lie. Doc is very strong, but I don't think Doc is A tier. I've never thought, oh my god, we really need a Doc. I think like Doc can be really strong. I mean, look, I put Doc next to Pulse and Castle. That's pretty good. But Thunderbird, C tier. Thunderbirds are just very mid. The heals are definitely worse than Doc. The gun is very mid. You do have a Nitro and speed, but I just think Thunderbird's kit now, because the entire Finka nerf was just made Thunderbird a lot worse. T'Chaka D tier, just a horrible version of Smoke. I don't need to say anything else. That's T'Chaka. No Lord Chonks, whatever, but he's just so bad. He's just so bad. Capkin, A tier. So Chaps seem very simple on paper, right? Seem very simple on paper. Want to place them on doors or windows, etc. But you have a good gun with a 1.5 scope and a Nitro, and these Chaps can kill people. And a lot of times, like in high level play, you're gonna hit Capkins all the time because, like, let's say I'm trying to walk through a door. I'm trying to have my line of sight on people instead of having to have it out the door, because that's gonna get me killed. I either shoot the Capkin or I shoot the person, and it's like having to look around too much gets you killed. Or that person's just a sitting duck for the Capkin who just comes swinging off his Capkin traps. But if late round you're not hit a Capkin trap that you're not really aware of, so many times you see the Capkin win rounds. So Django is higher than he was before the rework. Capkin beats here in my opinion. I think Capkin is, I get what you're saying, but I do think Capkin is very, very strong. I'm going to stay on that because as just like a overall map controller, he is very, very strong. Because you never know, just the fear of which doorway is going to have a Capkin. You don't know, so the attackers have to play a lot slower than they would normally. You can't just run around. Bandit, a Bandit C tier. Situationally for bandit tricking is really strong, but should never really picked outside of these moments. Because the ability is going to be very mid. Good gun, good nitro, and speed. So overall, as a fragger, bandit is amazing. But bandit's ability is really more of a I am at a wall trying to keep them outside of my wall. So outside of that, I mean, you can pick bandit and top frag without even using your ability. But as an overall operator, I definitely think bandit sees here. So Warlord of Zeus, I know, I'm sorry. Frost is an easy beats here. Actually, I kind of want to put Frost at 8 tier. Let's put Frost 8 tier. Why is Frost so high, SenVale? Well, let me explain that. You have an amazing gun with a 1.5 scope. You have a shotgun to set up an entire site. You have traps that force attackers to have to look down instead of directly at an enemy. And sometimes your traps are going to instantly kill an enemy. I mean, a lot of high-level players are going to hit traps all over the place. Very, very strong. You have a Capkin and a Frost. It's just a winning recipe. Like, let's say we're like having it playing a site that smoke's not really necessary. A lot of times, I'll just pick Frost instead, because we're not necessarily going to have them go for a plant. I can just pick Frost, keep them at bay with my gun, and I can set up the site the way I want. And the traps are going to help. You know, if maybe I'll get lucky. So situational, in my opinion. I think these operators are good on almost every situation I can possibly think of. I've never thought someone picking one of these ops is throwing, ever. That's why, like, when I go down the list, I think in all the maps, on all the different sites, is this operator pick throwing, yes or no? And, like, some of these, yes. Yes. I don't see these ever being a throw pick, ever. Sorry, I just don't see it. Jaeger, S tier, I mean, do you like any grenaded? I don't. Why? Good guns, grenades, not boom you up. So, Aruni. I think Aruni is at A tier pure for a wrong reason. Aruni's ability is kind of mid, but it does help with grenade denial and utility denial, and you can set up the site a little bit. But that DMR on defense does matter, because a DMR on defense means a lot. That thing shreds people. The only problem with Aruni is that she is a 3 armor now, but that doesn't even stop her that much, because most of the time you're ADS anyways, and everyone moves like the same speed while you're ADS, so you don't even notice it as much. That lower A, yeah, I mean, Aruni is definitely the lowest part of A, but still, I think Aruni is A. Yeah, no, Frost has a. You really think the trap is a situational? You have a shield and a shotgun to set up the site, so you can set, like, Capkin can't really set up the site, but like you can set up the site and you have a shield, and you know, placing frost mats in random blind spots might kill somebody. You never know if they will or not, and as long as if it does downs one person in a round, that was a good pick. Like, one person out of the 3 traps, if you down one person with that utility in a round, that was a good trap. Kavera, D tier, just don't do it. You were dead ass throwing. Granted, Kavera is one of the funnest operators in the game to play. I love playing Cav, but Cav is a throw op, and everybody knows this. You know Cav's a throw op, but it is fun as fuck. Echo, I'm placing Echo at the B tier. Situationally, very good. Shotgun is amazing. SMG is amazing. You have impacts, 2 speed, like, and intel. Like, everything about Echo is really strong now, but there's nothing that really elevates him up to that A tier in my eyes. Yeah, if I made another, that would be a little bit lower. I think Echo is a solid D tier. Clash is an S tier. I agree. Clash, easy S tier. Don't need to. Obviously not. Clash is horrible. Why the hell would Clash be S tier? Clash is terrible. Worst op in the game. At the bottom of D tier. Have you seen your win rate with Clash? There's a reason for that. You don't win with Clash. But SenVale, I had a strat that worked well with Clash. Yeah, maybe once out of the 5 times. Maybe. Mirror S tier. Mirror Vector. Nitro, and her shields, her mirrors, I should say, are the best in the. So good. Like she is the best sight anchor in the game by far with that mirror. So that's why she's banned so often. We're surprised. Valkyrie, another S tier. Those cameras being able to place anywhere, it is so hard to find them, even if like they're glowing blue. And even if you do find them, you're still two other cameras to find. And she has a good gun with Nitro. Valkyrie's just a menace. Like Valkyrie is just a menace. If I have to pick an op between these two to ban, I'm personally going to ban the Valkyrie more often. But SenVale, it's a walking mirror. I don't want to hear that. No, Clash is so bad. Legion, I think Legion is an A tier operator. Guys, are you guys seeing a trend here for the A tiers? Perhaps. Gadgets you leave and you can forget about that give you intel or damage enemies. I mean, I personally think that Legion is one of the best solo roamers in the game. You can roam on an opposite side of the map, place your mines, doors, windows, etc., and you're gonna have active intel and audio on where people are at, and they're gonna be slow while they hit those traps. It's not gonna kill them, but it's gonna give you a lot of time to be able to deal with them. And Legion does have a good gun, and he's pretty fast with his impacts. So definitely, I definitely feel Legion's very, very safe at A tier. Ella, C tier, got a little bit of a buff with the compensator change, but that's not out yet. But Ella's pretty strong, but very situational as a trap operator. Her guns are kind of mid. Her traps are pretty good. They're definitely like shell shock, and you can just throw them on the fly. But other than that, like barbed wire and shield. Most of the time you're picking Ella, you're playing for that shield, and then you're playing like aggressive around your traps. Very, very limiting playstyle, Miles. Yeah, Legion used to be my one-trick defender that I just pick all the time. Speaking of one-trick defenders, Warden S tier. SenVale, why is Warden S tier? That's weird, SenVale. You put anyone halfway decent that can shoot in this game on Warden, you are going to win so many games. I was kind of hesitant on placing Warden very high, like before in the past, but I've been playing Warden a lot, and Warden is an S tier operator all day. If they ever flash, if they ever smoke, I pop my glasses and I can easily get a free kill. Anytime that happens, anytime I know where the push is, I know they might smoke out or flash or whatever, I run over, pop my glasses, free kill. And that gun rips heads. So you gotta be able to get headshots for Warden to be an S tier. If you can't get headshots, Warden is not an S tier operator. But if you put your best shooter on Warden, you are going to win a ton of games. 2 speed with a nitro and a good gun. Holy crap. So I think Warden's safe there. And then Oryx is going to be another S tier. I don't like playing Oryx personally because I would rather just play Warden, but Oryx is another S tier. Mobility is the best. Can, set up a site in seconds if you want. Good gun with 1.5 scope. Bailiff set up as well. And has the most mobility on the map. Like, you can go up hatches, which is very strong on certain maps. But Oryx as a roamer is probably the best roamer in the game. If I had to pick one. If I had to pick one, Oryx is like the best non-throwy roamer, I should say. Vigil, C tier, a little bit more situational. Vigil's just a little situational. Like, can be strong with the anti-intel. Like, a horrible team lineup that I could think of like as a roam setup would be Mute, Ozzy, and Vigil. That would just be general nonsense. That just be nonsense to have to deal with. So, good gun and fast as hell. Mozzie, I feel like Mozzie is one of the better roamers in the game with those pest anti-intel, and he does have a lot of killing potential. His guns are amazing, and he has a nitro. And one of the nitro is going to be a little bit higher. I value explosives a lot more than a lot of other utility because nitros usually equal free kills sometimes, and free kills win rounds. So, Mozzie's intel. If you do take a trap, if you do take a drone, then you can use it for intel for your team. So that's kind of nice as well. But a lot of times, the attackers are going to see that pest, and they know they can't get their drone in, so they're not going to be able to drone a room. That's defenders. Alibi, A tier. I think Alibi would be S tier, except for the fact that her gun does not have a 1.5 scope anymore. Gun is still really strong. Can set the site. Play aggressive. Alibi is a really strong operator and just general the fragging department. Like you have a Warden, Alibi, and Oryx, all that can shoot, and you have a little cheat code to probably winning the round. So, boom. Alibi's utility is a little bit more lackluster, but you place them in blind spots where someone might shoot, and you get active intel on that person. You can get kills off of it, or you just kind of scare people away. So, or we place it in the middle of a doorway, and they physically have to shoot it or touch it, and then you know that they're at least looking at the door. So, that shot is called the Bouncers. I coined that. Maestro, I'm placing Maestro at C tier with the reload change. Reload cancels are going to be really tough, so anyone with an LMG is going to be really rough to use. Because if you start reloading, you have to finish your reload all the way before you can pull your gun back out, or you're going to pull your gun up with one bullet. That hurts Maestro a lot. And his cameras can't move. Maestro is an anchor who can set up the site with his bailiff, but I don't know. Like, there's just so many other options that I would rather have personally. Like, I'd rather just have a Doc with a bulletproof over Maestro personally. So it's more of a, I don't know. I feel like Maestro does have some. There's gonna be times where you can get away with using Maestro, but definitely more of a anchory kind of op. You can't really get away with much. Goyo, easy A tier. Don't even need to think about that. Honestly, should be S tier, but I'm gonna place Goyo at A tier because he's very easily counterable by some other attackers like Flores or Twitch. But those fires burn for a long damn time, and if you put yourself in a situation where you're having to wait for the fires to go down, it is really rough to deal with because those fires stay up for a while. But Goyo does have to set them up early. But Goyo has a good gun, amazing vector with the 1.5 scope and a nitro. Goyo is a very, very strong operator. Again, more traps, but traps win games. Speaking of traps, Malusi, I'm going to place the B tier. I do think Malusi's traps should be at A tier, but I'm placing Malusi at B tier because that 1.5 scope, the 1x scope, sorry, it's hard to even think of an MP5 without a 1.5. But Malusi has a 1x MP5 that's just weaker than all other MP5s. And she's now at 3 armor instead of a 3 speed. So Malusi just a little bit worse, but her traps are still pretty strong to just stop that anti rush. But barbed wire can also fit the same thing, and you can bring more utility. So, you know, the Banshees are nice sometimes, but other times there are other ops that you can bring instead. But occasionally you will see me grab a little bit of Mel here and there. And a more open floor plan, like, let's say you're playing Oregon, playing Meeting. Like, you need traps for, you know, just at least you know which way to look. Cade, easy S tier. I don't like Cade's guns anymore. 1x on his AUG, 1.5 on his, you know, TCSG. Nitro is nice, but his gadgets to keep walls closed is probably the best. It's just the best. Malusi Thorn combo, I think that's kind of mid. I think that just kind of sucks. So Thorn is one of the worst operators in the games in terms of utility. So I'm going to place Thorn at C tier because her utility is pretty bad, but her guns are really, she's a really good gun. Does a lot of damage and good secondary, but she doesn't have much else. I think she has a shield though. That is one saving grace that she does have a shield, but the traps aren't really ever realistically kill someone. I think that there are way better traps in the game than thorns. Anytime someone dies to a thorn, everyone laughs because it's very rare, and you shouldn't ever die to these thorns. It does push you out of an area. Like if there's a Malusi thorn combo, I mean, I just don't ever see that realistically work. That's just a lot of having to plan to get a trap kill like that. And most of the time, when I start to activate the thorn with the Malusi going off, I'm gonna have plenty of time to walk away. Like it's not gonna really catch anyone off guard. Am I missing defenders here? I don't think so. Azami, easy D tier, completely horrible. Like, what does the ability even do? Azami is one of the best operators in the game. Like, Azami's amazing. Azami is one of the best ops. Probably broken, honestly. Should be nerfed more than likely, but she's not, so she's S tier. Her ability just be able to rework a site on the fly with 5 trap, like, it's nah, bro. Like, nah, bro. Like, just Azami's just crazy. Good gun, impact, speed. Does Azami's just amazing. Solos. Solos, I would think S tier, but I'm gonna play Solos specifically at A tier because this is more of a ranked than it is comp. Solos at A tier I think makes sense because the anti-intel's nice, but and the anti-plant denial is nice, but I feel like this is better. Solos, it tends to be way better in higher elo slash comp than in like a ranked situation because you do get the ability to actually, you know what? I can't even do that. Solos is just just so good. I'm playing Solos at S tier. I don't even care. I thought about it for a second, but like trying to justify why Solos A tier not S tier, but Solos is just really strong. The ability to just be aggressive as hell, because even in low elo, I can find the claymores, I can find your attack utility, and I can just jump out around it, or I can impact and shoot it early. If you're ever on a drone, I see you, you're dead. Like Solos just makes attackers have to play differently. If you don't play differently when there's a Solos on the board, you are going to feel the effect of Solos very fast. So yeah, Solos is an S tier. I tried to rationalize it A tier, but I just couldn't do it. I think that's it. There's a lot of S tier operators, but honestly, the defense is a little bit more, you know, keep them out, bring a little bit of utility. Oh my god. Keep them out, bring a little bit of utility, and shoot them out. I mean, I feel confident in this list. Let me know if you guys have a different situation on what you think operators should be on this list. Let me know down in the comments down below on the YouTube video. Make sure to tell me why. Like, I think Pulse should be an S tier because this is why. Blah, 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 blah. Give me that other than Pulse should be S tier. I need a little bit more. And we're going to have a conversation about it. So, hey, so guys, make sure to subscribe, drop a comment, and leave a like down below for more Operation Commanding Force. Let's get it, baby. Till next time. Peace out. Hey.